So you want to know how to get your photos looking like this? You want to know how to give them that dreamy film-like quality? Well, you're in the right place. If you're new around here, hi, I'm Riona, your resident memory keeper, and today I'm going to show you how I edit my photos. So without further ado, let's get into it. So recently I've been using a program called Dehancer Desktop to edit my photos. You may have heard of Dehancer for its film emulation color grading plugins, but they recently launched Dehancer Desktop, which is a standalone photo editor built around analog film emulation. So I wanted to show you a bit of my workflow that I typically do when editing photos. So I've got Dehancer Desktop open now and I've pulled up an image that I want to work on. So this image was taken on my Fujifilm X-T50. I love that camera. It is also kind of built around emulating the look of film. So I find that the photos look great straight out of camera. So I only find that I need to make ever so slight subtle tweaks to the images from this camera. And that's what I find Dehancer Desktop is really good at, is making really subtle tweaks in a very intuitive way. I am using the Fujifilm recipe Wonderlight, which is a recipe I found on Instagram, and I love the look it gives my photos. So this is what it just looks like straight out of camera. I think it looks great. I love the textures and the colors in this image, but I think I could make a few subtle tweaks to make it even more dreamy and film-like. You can apply a film stock to your photo. I really like to do this. It basically kind of emulates old film stocks from back in the day, and my favorite is Fujichrome Velvia 50. So yeah, this is what Fujichrome Velvia 50 looks like on my image. I do find that with this particular film stock, I do have to make some tweaks to the exposure and temperature, which I usually go in and do over here. So just subtle tweaks to the temperature, and I like to actually bring the temperature down a little bit because I think that makes the whites pop a bit more. Cool, I like that. And if you're not new here, you've probably heard me bang on and on about how much I love the bloom feature. I love how this makes my images look. If you don't know what bloom is, it basically creates a neutral glow around the highlights of your image, and that really gives it that dreamy look. So you can really customize this to be as subtle or as extreme as you want it to be. I like to keep it pretty subtle. This is how it looks when you go really extreme with it. Very, very hazy and glowy, but I like to kind of keep it all the way down around 7 or 8. And I think that's perfect for me. I really like how you can refine the look with Dehancer Desktop. I find that on other editing apps it's not as possible to really tweak all of the settings. And you can do a similar thing with halation. Halation is very similar to bloom. It just, instead of a neutral glow, it gives more of a reddish tinged glow around the highlights. And if I do use this, I make sure to make it really subtle, otherwise I find that it kind of messes with the colors of my image a bit too much for my liking. So this film stock also adds a little bit of film grain, which I do like. I'm not a huge fan of how grain looks on video footage, but for my photos I do enjoy a little bit of tasteful grain. So I like it how it is, so I'm going to leave that how it is. Maybe just bring the exposure like that, and you can see how it looked before, and this is how it looks after. I think the colors are so much more vivid and vibrant. They definitely pop out a lot more, stand out from each other, and just looks a lot more punchy, I think. So yeah, and then I just click apply. You can save your edits as a preset if you want as well, which I find is really useful. With photo editing, I don't want it to be any more of an arduous task than it needs to be, so I find that feature really useful. And yeah, you can have a look at some of the other photos that I've done. These are the subtle tweaks. So this is what it looked like before, straight out of camera, and this is what it looks like after. You can see it's got that little bit of halation. You can see that the colors are a lot more vibrant than before, you know, like the browns really pop, and so does the blues and the pinks and purples and things like that. Yeah, with this image, this is what it looked like before, and this is after. I really like the way the blue of the plate looks in this image. And for this image, this is what it looked like before. It's kind of a dull image, and this is what it looked like after. You know, I feel like the white of my skirt really pops, the blue of the yarn really pops, it like separates it a lot more from the background. So yeah, I really enjoy the way this looks. You can see here, this is what it looked like straight out of camera, and this is what it looks like. Really, really subtle tweak, just adding a little bit of halation to it to give it that more kind of hazy, dreamy look. And then This is actually an image that was taken on an iPhone, so you can see what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like after. Again, a very subtle tweak, but you can see that the colors look so much more vibrant. You can see the blues and the reds are really popping, and there is a tiny bit of halation as well on it, just to kind of give a little bit more of a glow. And yeah, I really like how this turned out. So that is my process with Dehancer Desktop. I have worked with Dehancer previously. This is not sponsored by them, but I do have a discount code for you guys to use. If you use the code riona, you can get 10% off all Dehancer products. I don't personally pay for Dehancer because they did gift it to me for free, but honestly, I think it's well worth the money. Like, if I didn't have it, I would gladly pay for it out of my own pocket, because it is just that good. Not only for photo editing, but also for color grading as well. It's literally my bread and butter. I can't be without Dehancer, honestly. Thank you to Dehancer for your continued collaboration on this channel. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.